Hi, welcome back to the Geterbrewed channel. So today we're going to look at canning, and I have two canning options with me today. So we have the cannular original and the cannular pro. Cans obviously have taken a massive spike in the market, and the local breweries seem to be moving away from bottle packaging to cans. And we know that homebrewers like to follow that trend. So this system's perfect for homebrew startup. It's very reasonably priced, just over £400. Obviously prices will fluctuate from time to time. This one is around £120 more expensive for the Pro. Now we do know that not just homebrewers have been using these, small scale nano brewers have been using them successfully. So let's have a look at the main differences. Visually, you can see this one's slightly smaller. It has a slightly smaller power pack because it doesn't have the same strength of motor. The reason this one has a slightly stronger motor is because you can see on the plate there's three options for can sizes, so you can actually can food tins and things like that. On the Cannular Pro, you do need to change the chuck. So when I mention the chuck, this is really important. So the machines come fitted with a Chinese chuck, which is sold mainly in the Chinese and American market. If you're coming into Europe or the UK, you need a CDL chuck. So if I can explain briefly, if you look, this chuck here is the chuck that comes with the machine, and it takes a can and a lid called a B64. So one of the things I like about the Pro, it comes with a can in the base to show that they've tested the seam before it's left the factory. So B64 lid, Chinese cans, this is set up for a 500ml can. So in order to allow you to use UK cans, which we use here, they're called a 202 lid. So this is 330ml 202 lid, sourced from one of the large can manufacturers that we have here. So the difference is basically the way in which the chuck fits the lid. So you can see that the CDL chuck on the 202 lid has got a really nice tight fit, and it will make a good seam. If you try to seam with the chuck that comes, the B64, it'll just tear up the cans and throw shards of aluminium up. It's not designed for those cans. So it's designed for the American and Chinese market, so you need the CDL chuck to make that difference. Now, as you can see here, it's just simply taken off with little Allen keys. The Allen key actually comes in the package for you. So this is the part that you're changing here. The chuck this is your chuck, and these are the seamers that come in and seam the cans. So getting back to the two machines, another, the visual difference is there's no levers. So the original cannular, the way it would operate is you would take your machine and get it set up, put your can on the plate here, switch the machine on, pull the lever back to seam one way, and then push forward to seam the other way. So this one has a lever, whereas this one's just push button on the side. Another difference would be that this has an adjustable platform now for taking multiple can sizes, whereas this one requires you to put a spacer in if you wanted to, say, change it from 500ml to 330ml cans. So visually that's the differences. So manual it's got levers. You have to buy the spacers to allow you to change from different can sizes. It's a manual process where you move the lever yourself. The Pro is obviously got the adjustable table and the touch button rather than levers. So this is as the machine comes. So as I mentioned, size is probably, visually you'll see that this one's a bit bigger. It's because it's got a larger motor. So it requires a larger power pack. So the power pack that comes with this will work with the smaller version. The smaller version's power pack won't work with that, and we're one of the few suppliers of these cannulars that actually supply the correct power pack included in the price as well. So you've got your choice between the manual and the Pro. I'm just going to very quickly show you how we set these up. So they come with the Allen key nut here, and you can see that this lever just slots in and screws in. So you just screw that in as far as you can get it to go. Just to keep the lever same, you'll see that there's 2 threaded ends in the other lever. The smaller end connects in here, and then the little lever handle connects in here. Just screw them hand tight, don't over tighten these things. So then there's 3 little, I suppose 2 hardened steel washers and 1 set of bearings. The bearings just drop in here, and then spacers are available 440 or 330mm depending on what can you're using. So we're going to show you the 330mm can. So that just slots in there. So the can, when it comes to filling cans, with experience from running our own brewery and having our own high-speed canning line, it's very important that you're capping on foam. If you're going to can condition, obviously you can't do that, but the reason I'm saying that you cap on foam, it means that, so say you're filling your can with a beer gun directly out of your pressurized uni tank, and the beer comes up near the top, it's important to have a little bit of foam so that when the cap hits the foam, it pours out over the edge. And what you're trying to do there is reduce the dissolved oxygen that's getting into the beer. And you don't want dissolved oxygen getting in there if it's a hop forward beer especially. And trying to minimize the amount of dissolved oxygen in the can is key. So we talk about capping on foam. So that means that you've placed the cap on foam. The can then gets set in to the little platform here. This lever is pulled around, and just pull it firmly into place. You'll hear it clunk as it clicks into place. And if you just visually look at what's happening there, it's getting the can nice and tight in to the chuck, so that that's holding that really firmly in place to allow the seamer or the 2 rollers to go in and seam the cap onto the can and create a good seal. If you look just in here, you can see that there's Allen key adjustments to allow you to move the seamers, and equally in the base here, if we tip this upside down, you will see that there's, will I do that just while you're, yeah. So you'll see that there's Allen key adjustments in the base if you need to adjust this. So what you're trying to do is ensure that you create a really good secure lock-in of the can and the lid before you start the seaming process. So we'll plug the power pack in here and try, just push that. That gets things moving. Nice and smooth motion. Back the way to start, and then forward to get the seam. Just switch off, and obviously you're going to want to bring your can back down out of that lock position. I'm quite pleased with it, having just switched the machine on. You can see that it's made a good seam. Now there's a lot of little nuances in canning. As I'd mentioned, you need to be careful about your dissolved oxygen levels. You need to be careful that you're capping on foam. You need to make sure that you're making a really good seam. So you may want to make some minor adjustments with the spanner and the Allen keys just to make sure that you're getting everything in place, making sure that you've adjusted here to make sure the can's nice and tightly into the chuck, and equally making sure that the platform that raises the can is raising the can level. So as I showed you before, there's the 3 Allen keys in the base that you can adjust to do that. So that's the manual. So the Cannular Pro, I guess, I've taken, there's little Allen keys in here as there is here, so I've taken those out to allow us to take this off to let you get a look inside. Okay, so you can see it's got the motor on it here, obviously molded plastic cogs there to do the spinning motion. We have our chuck here, seaming heads here and here. And you can see that there's adjustment in the form of spanner nuts here and here, and also here and here to allow you to make minor adjustments. And you can see that you can get so you can see that Allen key comes as well to allow you to take the chuck off. So it's quite simple. Just pop the Allen key in. That'll allow you to loosen that. So you can see there that's. So I just popped the cover off that there to allow you to see how well made this machine is. There is add-ons for this machine. You can buy a splash guard, and the splash guard just screws onto the side here and sits up. It allows you to put it down. It means whenever you're canning, if there's any spray comes off the can, that it's catching in the inside of the guard rather than spraying all over yourself. This obviously is manually adjustable as opposed to adding the little spacers, whether it's a 330 or 440 spacer, so you can just move this up and down. Obviously, if you're going to want to use canned food products and things, you're going to need the different chuck. We haven't seen a demand for that. We've just seen a demand for the chuck for the 202 lids. So if you're buying cans in the UK from Ball or Da, Crown, one of those major manufacturers, you can imagine that the can is going to need a 202 CDL chuck. If you're buying from Asia, that you're going to need the B64, which comes with the machine as standard. So that's the Cannular Pro and the Cannular Manual, now making it possible for home brewers and nano brewers to can cans one at a time. I've been told it takes roughly 3 seconds a can on this canning machine. Again, being very careful with your dissolved oxygen, and don't give up if you're having some issues. Kegland are the manufacturer of these machines. If you need technical assistance, I'm sure they're more than happy to give you some technical assistance to fine tune those things. But the fact that the can now comes in the base to show that they've tested it shows major advances, and gives you confidence that you can, cut in and check the seam if you want to. So thanks so much for watching. That's canning using the two options from the Cannular brand. Until next time, thanks so much for watching. Happy brewing.